Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hope you're all back to your screens again. Um, but I wanted to wrap up this piece. We wanted to do some more classroom integration, and so I'm going to talk briefly and show some pieces about integrating reading into science experiences like this. And then I'm going to turn it over to Rachel, and she's going to talk about writing at the early grades and a little bit about math integration. We hope that sets you up really well for your planning, that you find lots of ideas you can grab and integrate. So there's a group out of the Lawrence Hall of Science in Berkeley called Seeds of Science, Roots of Reading. And they did a lot of work over the last decade or two to figure out ways to integrate reading in particular and writing into science investigation experiences. And so these slides are from their work. And then I'm going to introduce a book, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the uses that might be with a book like this. So first of all, as a rationale, using text in science, there are a lot of things in science that you can't actually find out easily through investigation. Like, for instance, somebody wrote in the chat box earlier, boy, sometimes it takes a long time to gather evidence. There might be other reasons why things might just be difficult to do live, or so reading about them can be a good source of information about science. Also, reading is actually an authentic active inquiry. You read to find out. And so scientists do it. It's a real part of science, and might as well integrate it usefully. And then finally, there's the synergy between reading and between doing science, where, like we talked about earlier, just doing science might make you really excited to read about it and find out more. Or doing a little reading up front might make you so excited about something that you want to investigate it. So there's this nice synergy. And let's go into the next slide. And these are they kind of offer 5 different ways that text can be integrated into investigations and inquiry science. I'm going to boil them down to about 3, where you can use text effectively before an investigation, during an investigation, or after. But in your leisure, you can look back at these slides, and it's got references, so you can read much more deeply into it. But one big message is reading with science isn't always just to find out facts. It isn't always just explanatory reading, but that's a big part of it. And so if you do explanatory reading, that would be something that you'd want to do, I think, after you do an investigation, so it doesn't give things away. And then after you're done with an investigation, you could read it and go, oh, is that what we found out? Or there's more to it than we thought. And it just didn't steal anyone's thunder. Another approach, if you look at that down the 4th one on the list, or the 5th one on the list, where it says to support firsthand investigations, that would be an example of something that you might use during an investigation. And my favorite example is if you're doing an investigation on what birds are in your backyard, having a field guide to birds would be a really good tool for that. And you'd use it during your investigation, but again, it wouldn't give away the answers. And then finally, there's this idea at the very beginning there, it says, provide context. And you could do a reading that kind of sets the stage about the topic that you're doing. It could bring the world kind of to you through the book and make you excited about it, but not tell you all the answers to things. And so that's the before, during, and after that I wanted to flag. And let's look at a few different pictures from a book. And I really like this book. It's something that you can find online. I think it's very cheap, but it's geared for about kindergarten level. And let's go to the next page and look at this for a minute and see if you can think, and then either put it in the chat box or say out loud, is this a page that you might want to show to kids before or during or after an investigation, and why? During, there you go. During, nice. So maybe after they'd recognize things. All right, before, in case they'd never seen a snail. I'm going to jump on something Julie said. And it's that idea of like bringing the world into your classroom through a book. Look at the environment, just the picture itself has got a leaf, it's outdoors, it's in the environment that it's in. And while it does say kind of explanatory things like that has a hard shell and a soft body. Um, it's letting you see what a snail looks like. So you might be able to use that before an investigation. Let's go to the next slide. And this is one, because it's purely explanatory, this is the food that snails eat. This would be something that if you're doing the investigation like we were on foods, you wouldn't want to show this first. And by the way, that bright red object, that's not something bloody or gross. That's a rose hip. And again, this is something that if kids explore snail eating and then look at this page, they go, oh yeah, we know that they eat green leafies. We know they eat most anything, and so it would be a confirmatory thing rather than to give it away. And we really encourage you to even take your books and look at what one page would do and maybe just do that one instead of feeling like you have to read the whole book.